Hello everyone, and welcome back to Misfits Racing League action. It is time once again for another round for the Tier 2 division, and it is the United States Grand Prix. We're here, of course, in Austin, Texas, and joining me for the racing, as always, Unicorn. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing very well, thank you, Striff, and I'm looking forward to this. Tuesday was a very, very dramatic affair around here, and I'm looking forward to see how Tier 2 and obviously Tier 1 take on this track. It's going to be a very exciting race.
I am super excited for this one. Tier 2, Tier 1, it's Thursday. We've got some very fast drivers here today for racing. Let's take a look at the circuit. This is, of course, the Circuit of the Americas, Austin, Texas. 20 turns, 5.5 kilometers around here, or if you are using miles, 3.425. There is a couple of DRS zones around here. I do believe the pit straight up into turn 1 is one of them. And if it isn't, well, then it's just the one down on the long straight out of the hairpin. But let's take a look at the calendar. The calendar, we are getting down to crunch time here for these racers. They have gone now 18 full rounds. We are here for round 19. And, well, next week we have Mexico. Following that, Brazil for the penultimate round, and then Abu Dhabi closing out Season 3 action for all of our grids, actually. Now, let's take a look at who's racing in Tier 2 action. We have the Mercedes duo of Kai Bacchini and Cotters, the Ferrari squad of Yasko and Scars, Gadwin and Liam over at Red Bull with Matteo and Mario over at McLaren, Ali over at Renault with Undertaker. Ali will be serving a race ban today, so we will not be seeing him in the Renault. There will be a reserve, I do believe, in place of him. Adrian and Wisp over at AlphaTauri with Darian Alfie and Extreme in the racing points. Maxim B and Seajoss for Alfa Romeo with Crampy and Henners over at Haas. We have Domi and Squid rounding out the 20 racers for this one at the Williams squad. Let's take a look at the standings. Standings here, jumping into round 19, are, well, quite tight, especially in the midfield. We take a look at how Domi, if you are just tuning into this season's action, has now clinched the championship. Congratulations to him in the Williams. However, Kai Bacchini and Liam still in quite a tight battle for that runner-up position there in second. And you can see the point spread between them is not massive at the moment. It is only 17 points between the two of them. Williams, Mercedes, Red Bull, your top three for the constructors. And we have, once again, Ali serving a race ban today. But, of course, multiple penalties were handed out post-race. So the stewards are, well, once again suggesting that Tier 2 do their best to keep it clean here around the United States. Don't want to leave a mess. Now, of course, with all that being said, I do believe we are ready to go racing, Unicorn.
Yeah, we are. We've got a full grid ready and waiting to go. So that's always lovely to see. Like you said, there's a couple of reserves, both in the Renault seats. We've got Moen and Verstappen reserving this evening, but very thankful for them. It gives us that lovely round number of 20, which we love to see. And
there we go. Jumping into action now. Dialed in, and this is a an iconic spot for you and I. We'll have to see if we get any rain this time around. Things looking a little gloomy here in the pit lane.
yeah, I think the USA, regardless of what we say, and yeah, like you say, it's very gloomy as I load in. The fact that this was the first race we ever commentated together, it's always gonna hold that in my heart whenever we commentate this race together. So
we've got today, we've got tomorrow as well. Now, one thing to note, there was a race around here earlier today for the Oceanic grid. Unfortunately, due to technical errors, I was not able to come through and broadcast that. Of course, being here in Canada, sometimes weather presents these difficult dynamics, and today was just one of those days. Now, I've been told that was a very unique race. I haven't had a chance to see any of the footage. There is going to be a highlights video. Although we didn't have the stream, there is going to be a highlights video, thankfully. And we're being told that it's going to be a dry session here now. Now, that's big. That's big for grids like this. This is a tight grid.
And it also means that we might see a few... Well, I don't think we saw it on Tuesday. We just saw a complete wash of soft compound tyres used in qualifying, if I'm not mistaken. Very few drivers opting to use the mediums, and obviously it's usually a minority anyway, but I don't think anyone utilised them on Tuesday, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it again here when we just see everyone on the soft compound tyres.
Squid in the Williams, the first driver out of the pit lane here for the qualifying session. He wants that early camera time. I say he frequently tries to get that done. Hanners and Crampy, however, it's the two Haas boys that are on top of things.
Actually sent back today. Both still in the garage.
Well, I think Hanners is looking for a serious result here, and the reason being, for starters, we saw him have a very good start when he was here in a reserve capacity on Tuesday during the European split. He absolutely rocketed himself from 6th position to lead of that race by the end of that opening safety car. And he held it for a short while until I think the setup may have betrayed him. But with that being said, he's got some runs in around here, and he'll maybe have tweaked that setup, maybe gotten a little bit more practice. So yeah, perhaps he'll be looking for a podium today.
Yeah, I think he was super on form on Tuesday. He clearly knew what he was looking to do in this race. His start was impeccable. His moves around the outside of turn 1 was just absolutely beautiful as Squid starts his flying lap. But I think, like you said, I think the tire wear and the setup that he had there wasn't perfect. We saw him drop off once he got into that first place. And I think because of that race, he's going to have got that dialed in. He's got that experience under the belt. He knows that that was a problem for him, and I imagine that he's going to have rectified it coming into tonight's race. And we'll have to see what that experience is going to gain him in terms of performance in the mid-stage of this race.
Good, now coming down through the hairpin, and this is where we have the massive straight here around Coda. DRS wide open on the rear wing, seeing that beautiful Williams logo get split in half. The engagement of that DRS now coming down into this left-hand section. Kind of a sweeping left, gradual through that inside. We've seen drivers cut that completely this week, Unicorn. So we'll have to see if any of the drivers have the liberty to do that here and maybe get away with it. I've been told that you might be able to get away with cutting that completely, so we'll have to see how the game registers things on that end. Squid, however, will be the first driver to set a time coming through Sector 3. To the penultimate turn now, through the final turn. And DRS wide open to finish the lap. That's 132. Where's Adrian? Adrian's coming around now in the AlphaTauri. Does he beat him out? Yes, he does. A 130.733 out of Adrian. His teammate behind him in Wisp just starting a lap. Gadwin crosses the Red Bull flying at a 131 flat right now, and Domi says hello. 137.52. Verstappen in a reserve capacity, the Renault. 130.665 out of him. He takes provisional pole. Yasko, Sejoss coming across now as well. Darian Alfie in the racing point. A 130.683 out of him. He's very hot on the rear of that Renault in the timing tower at the moment.
Yeah. Kai and Extreme chose to come in at the end of their laps. So they're not going to be setting times. We've still got a few flying. Moen's coming around the final corner now. He sets a 133.3. Just a note on those you were just talking about the turn 12 there and the fact that you could call it the stewards did put out a message earlier that if anyone is caught, I don't know if turn 12 is what they're referring to. I don't know where they were referring to, if it's sector 1. But it does look like the game doesn't pick up on a few of the track limits, and if the stewards notice it themselves,
okay,
they're for extending the track if Where is it? If you need to have a part of your car within the track limits at all times. So if the stewards notice that the game doesn't penalise you for having your full car out of track limits, and they notice that, they will be penalising these drivers afterwards. So
That is
it's
very good
still
to know.
got to be on the drivers' minds.
Mario P1 133.76 now into provisional pole. His teammate Matteo is also flying. See what the McLarens are up to today as he crosses through the final turn now. DRS wide open. He crosses into pole position. Unicorn a 133.71. 5 milliseconds ahead. 4 according to the timing tower, but 5 according to the actual lap times. But hello, it is Matteo and Mario. 1-2 for the McLaren squad at the moment. Neatly done. Neatly done.
Yeah, well, those McLarens are absolutely flying right now. Maxime B, we know him to be a very quick driver. He's just started a flying lap coming through Sector 1 right now, and to see what he can do. Kai as well. He's out on another out lap after he pulled his car into the pit lane after his first attempt.
Everybody's looking quite quick around here today, Unicorn. Things are split up quite tight in the top 12 right now. Gap to the 11th driver is less than a second by 0.003. We have Wisp just out of range right now. Moen just out of range as well, but we have quite a few racers here. Well, Kai Bacchini and Liam, the second and third drivers in this championship respectively, yet to set laps. Maxim B is going to be coming through in this Alfa Romeo. Of course, no incidents. Hopefully for him on the rest of his lap here.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the gap between third and 10th, Striff. It's about 4/10 for those 7 drivers right there. So it's insanely tight stuff that we're seeing here in this grid right now. So it's a very promising qualifying session as a Maxime B crosses the line. He goes third fastest, a 1:30.629. Puts him just ahead of the stat Ben, but even he is 3/10 off of Mario in that second place at the moment, just behind his teammate. So the McLaren's very strong right now.
Kai Bacchini in the Mercedes now. He's coming down through the hairpin. He's about to bring us on a ride down the long straight. And I spoke with Kai a little bit earlier today. He has good confidence around this American circuit, and I think a win is on the cards for him. We'll see what he's able to do coming out of the straight now. He's really utilizing as much of this circuit as he can, keeping those wheels in the track, of course, utilizing these curbs nicely. This is a very unique section of circuit. This very, well, I say up, down, but left, I don't know. It's a tricky bit of circuit, I find. But Kai making short work of it right now, making his way through Sector 3, through the penultimate turn now. Keeping sharp on the exit, doesn't want to invalidate on the curbs. He comes through the final turn. What is the time going to be? The Mercedes. Pole position, a 1:30.068. Hello, Mr. Kai Bacchini. 3/10 ahead of Matteo at the moment. And that is a Mercedes on pole. Extreme Cross is 15th quickest. There's other drivers flying. Cotters and Liam are just a couple of them. Cotters leading the Red Bull at the moment. Henners is also flying. He's about to finish up in the Haas, and we'll have to see where he lands himself. Like I said earlier, he could potentially have himself a solid race here around the US.
Yeah, and he started 6th on the grid. Yes, Tuesday, and he's 7th at the moment. So if he can get the start he had a few days ago, he's on for a very nice position. But again, it's all how much he can sustain that race pace. We saw that sort of drop off a little bit for him earlier in the week. Cotters and the other Mercedes is coming through the last couple of turns into the final corner as one of the Williams pair gets out of his way. It's Cotters hopping into P14 and 131.1. I think that was Liam at 131.3 behind him as his teammate Gadwin hops into 7th at 130.7.
Really sure who's just crossed to improve. I think it may have been Gadwin, actually. Yeah, Gadwin improved to P7. Him and Henners have an identical lap time presently on this timing tower, Unicorn. Take a look.
I did not know. That is quite spectacular. So I'm sure Hennes isn't exactly best pleased. Hennes is just given Crampy a toe down that long back straight. And I imagine that's something we might see from Fraser and ZZ9 tomorrow. But it's nice to see that that sort of teamwork is being displayed here by the two Haas guys, Crampy and Hennes. And we'll have to see how that impacts Crampy's lap time. He's the only driver at the moment yet to set one. Coming into the final couple of corners, turn 19 into the 20th and final corner.
Cars just jumped into 5th. Crampy jumps into 7th. Oh man. This is a tight lineup, Unicorn. This is locked in.
Yeah, the top.
Darian Alfie's 3 milliseconds ahead of Matteo.
I think, what is this? The top 15 are within a second? So, this is a very, very exciting race we're shaping up to be. And we're not even in the fastest lap times yet. We're not even in that final 5 minutes on the track is
we haven't,
fastest.
We aren't even at the fastest point in the circuit. A lot of drivers entering the pit lane now. The clock is ticking down. A few drivers are still flying. Mario is one of them. His teammate Matteo is just ahead of him. However, he's on an invalidated run, but he's going to be beginning once again.
Yeah, an invalidation. Not exactly hard to get around here, but right, most people seem to have strayed away from that at the moment, and maybe they're taking any kind of Dirk Chocolate's book. He got no penalties and saw that skyrocketing at the end of the EU race. Mario improves by less than a tenth, but that still jumps him from 4th to 2nd because this grid is so tight. So
those minimal improvements are huge in this grid. They are massive. Matteo right now, he's looking to improve. He's actually improved through Sector 1 now, approaching the hairpin. Very nice line through there. Very clean. Carrying a lot of speed on exit. Now, something we haven't talked about. We've had a lot of speed in this grid, and with that speed comes a very, very tightly packed grid. Let us know in the chat. Let us know your predictions. First and foremost, who's going to be finishing this race on the 3 steps? And of course, how many safety cars do you think we are going to see here around Texas?
I think this is probably one of the easiest tracks over the last few. We've seen fairly minimal safety cars over the past few races, but we saw a couple in EU, so I wouldn't be surprised to see at least one here. It's not a tough track to draw one out, and a Matteo 129.8, half a second drawn out on that McLaren, and that's on old tires as well.
That is an absolutely blistering lap, and for those that were unaware, Matteo is following in the family business, it would seem. His older brother, Nicholas Longe, Formula 1 esports winner and driver for Renault, so it would appear he's coming to take the title from his brother in the family, maybe. But Henners is flying.
That is one hell of a lap time. And not only Henners, Domi as well, who's on for, well, an improvement that could see him jump into the top 5. Oh, he's invalidated out of turn 19 though from the Williams.
Crampy giving Henners a real cheeky toe now. See what he's able to pull out of Sector 2. See if that toe has helped him. Oh, it has. He's up half a second nearly here, Unicorn, and we'll have to see if he loses it through Sector 3.
Well, half a second will put Henners possibly on the front row, if not the second. Because, like you said, it depends on this final sector, but right now this is second row pace for sure.
Oh, Henners now to the line. What's it going to be? P3, a half a second improvement out of the Haas, and he lands himself into some serious company into the second row. Hello, Mr. Henners, and welcome to the front of things. His teammate Crampy now coming through turn 1. He'll be looking to improve. Domi on an invalidated run. Yasko in the Ferrari has just began. And there's a multitude of racers looking to improve. Kai Bacchini being one of them. He's in the Mercedes coming through the S's now.
Domi doesn't have a fuel warning light on, so hopefully he can get another run in, because he did seem to have pace. Squid improves by almost half a second, but it's only good for P14. But yeah, Domi looks very strong right now, but invalidations do tend to allude to some penalties.
Kai has unfortunately just dropped his last lap, I do believe. We'll have to see if he's able to get around quick enough to go again, but here goes Crampy getting a nice tow out of the teammate that just set P3. We'll see if Crampy's able to improve through Sector 2 in a similar fashion. Not quite up compared to where Henry was, but we'll see what he finds through Sector 3.
Yeah, these drivers, pretty much everyone out on a flyer right now, so these times, I imagine, are going to start crumbling.
I do believe there may be a small element of desync, as I am the host of this session. So, may very well be that Kai gets through. Crampy crosses 6th quickest now. 130.453 is what he was able to improve to. And you can see this timing tower. Everybody is either on an in-lap or a flyer that is not highlighted with that outlap indicator. And then you have the outlap indicator. We have 8 drivers, 7, excuse me, on outlaps. Gadwin in the Red Bull, he'll be looking to improve right now. He's in 10th at present. Teo and the McLaren pulled off to the outside, and I do believe Gadwin has dropped his lap here, finding someone to improve. Maxim B in the Alfa Romeo, he's up nearly 3/10 out of Sector 2. And 3/10 can land him anywhere from, well, 6th to 10th at the moment. Is he going to get? Ooh, he dropped it through Sector 3, it would seem. Domi behind him crosses and improves.
Yeah, Kai, he did make it. He's coming down to that infamous turn 12. Let's see what he gets. He was up for a little bit of slide coming out of that turn 12. He's got a 10th. It's not quite going to be enough to dethrone Matteo. Can he find just a little bit more time? Mario as well, it's worth noting, he's flying. He's currently in 5th. Liam has put himself into 3rd with his last lap, so very nicely done from him, but who is going to join? Kai's coming into the pits, so Kai's not improving. It's Mario's on for an improvement, but it's not huge, but he doesn't need a huge improvement. He needs less than a 10th to get Henners for that 4th spot on the grid.
There's a lot of drivers that are going to be looking to improve here. The Renault Verstappen Ben 3rd now for him. Sejoss improves a 130.749.
Here comes Mario.
Improve.
Pretty much an identical lap time for the McLaren.
Darian, it would appear he's lost a bit of time through Sector 2, and he's invalidated the run coming out of the penultimate turn, so he's not going to be improving. Domi not improving. Gars in the Ferrari. Where can the prancing horse land himself? No improvement. Bit of an issue coming out of the final turn there. And I do believe we are at the finish of our qualification session. What an absolute blistering time out of the McLaren. Matteo here, a 129.815 out of the Frenchman. And this is just Tier 2 action. I am blown away by how competitive the grid is today here. I think this might be one of the tightest tightest interval spreads we've seen out of Tier 2 so far this season, and that really just shows that everybody has been pushing and pushing to improve Unicorn, and I am super happy to see it. The AI car is now just waiting on the last few drivers to retire.
Yeah, that was a really great qualifying session from this grid of drivers. 1 through 17th, pretty much within 1 second of each other. So this is going to be a very exciting race. It's so interesting to see tight battling around this track, especially to that third sector.
Definitely. That is a super congested grid. But it is the McLaren. It is Matteo on pole position, a 129.815, the pole time from him. Kai Bacchini lining up not too far behind in the Mercedes. He was the provisional pole sitter at a time, but a 130.068 was the quickest he can get after I think it was some traffic on his final lap. Verstappen Ben coming through clutch for Renault today in a reserve capacity. P3 out of him here in quali, a 130.129. Liam and Henners 4-5 for them, and of course we will go through the rest of this grid on the formation lap. As long as we don't have a little bit of a desync we seem to have maybe had. Oh, now we have a countdown. Crampy has left.
Yeah, Crampy plagued with that connection that he seems to be having. We'll get another invite sent to him as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it's very... May unfortunately not able to race. Okay, I'm seeing the load-in screen, but hopefully this car is on the grid. Now, one thing I would like to say, thank you and welcome to everybody who is joining us for Tier 2, Round 19. It's the United States Grand Prix. Good to have you. Super happy to have you all here. My name is Strifium. Joining me is Unicorn. If you're new, help us out. Hit that follow button. If you've been here a while, help us out. Share the link because this is Misfits Racing League action and it is about to get tense. Tier 2 is very, very intense.
Yeah, that quali session was so close, so tight, and if that leads into the race, which typically it does, we might see the front runners after a bit of battling in the mid pack start to break away. You'll see a pocket of a few drivers just break away, move a little bit forward. Although tires could be very interesting here as well. A lot of mediums and extremes on the hards as well, but very interesting stuff.
Just trying to get a view on Crampy's car. So Crampy's car is on the grid, so we'll see if he's able to take control of that car. He has now just joined the session. Love to see him get into that car and race, as he is in P8. But why don't you take us through the rest of this grid, Unicorn?
Well, obviously, the top 10 all on the soft command tyres, leading the charge is Matteo with that blistering time in the McLaren. He's joined in the front row by Kai Bacchini in the Mercedes. Verstappen Ben reserving in the Renault in third place. Liam in the Red Bull in fourth. Henners, who had a great start here on Tuesday, in fifth place. Mario, Matteo's teammate, in sixth. Darren Alfie in seventh. Crampy in eighth. Domi, the championship winner here, is in ninth place. Scars rounds out the top 10. Then outside the top 10, most drivers on the mediums. Maxime B, the first on them in 11th. Gadwin behind him in 12th. Adrian in 13th. Sejos in 14th. Yasko in 15th. Codders in 16th. All of those drivers are on the mediums. Squid in 17th is still choosing to start on the soft compound tyre. Wisp in 18th is on the mediums. Extreme in 19th is on the hard compound tyres, the only driver on the grid to do so. And the only other reserve in the other Renault seat, Moen, in 20th on the soft compounds as well. So tyres are going to be very, very important around here. It is a soft medium or a medium soft, so extreme on those hards is an interesting choice. But we should be seeing a one-stop for most of these drivers. Obviously, wing changes are likely to force an impact there and change strategies on the fly, but we'll have to just wait and see. And the start here critical. We saw Henners, who is poised and ready in P5, So he's already on that outside. He was on the inside on Tuesday. He is ready and waiting on that outside. If he gets another blistering start, all the drivers ahead of him have got to look out.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there as the lights are about to come on. Moen now on the grid. Take us away for this race start, Unicorn. It is the United States Grand Prix.
Well, here we go. The drivers are revving those engines. We've seen the lights. They haven't seen them yet, but... So long lights. There we go. We are away here at Kota. And it looks like Liam has got a much better start than the Renault beside him. But it's Hennes again. Just huge traction coming between the pair of them. He's in the middle though. There's a little bit of tap from Verstappen. Behind him, everyone else getting around cleanly. There's Scars a little bit wide through turn 1. Domi is already up 3 places. 4 now in the Williams. Although he's been pushed a little bit wide. He's completely off the track. Verstappen as well is off the track. Not sure what's going on between them. Verstappen slides into the wall. He's still in this race, but a big portion of damage. You've got Scars as well. Yasko, sorry, wrong Ferrari. He's battling, and Matt Verstappen has had contact with Crampy, who's spun round. He is down into last place now. Moen's struggling. He's up into 17th place.
Seedross with a big dive into the hairpin. Does he get Cotters and Yasko? Yes, he does, and Extreme's had an issue. Cotters is moving back out of the exit, and there's a ton of issues coming out of Sector 1. Yasko now moving through on Seedross. The move lasted a moment. Yasko now looking at Cotters. A ton of speed in that Ferrari. Now on the inside, wheel to wheel. How's this going to go? The Mercedes with a little bit better traction. We're going to jump onto the front of things as Liam is still super tight to Henners. Henners has made his way from 5th into 3rd. Mario now right behind them has just dropped to Domi.
Well, he was actually looking to try and take that place. Domi's up 4 places. Mario trying to go on the inside, not quite making it well. That turn is a little bit too tight. You want to be going around the outside and aiming for a switchback through there, but he's out of position. Darian, he's not too far behind him. We've got this huge train here. Once DRS gets enabled, it's going to be very interesting. Hennes again has had a good start, up 2 places into 3rd. And Domi as well, but Squid in 9th is up 8 places, so best start goes to him.
Verstappen has had to come in here. We've had no safety car. There was a little bit of an issue between the Renault and, well, I'm not entirely sure what happened with the Renault. He went off wide. He had an issue. He got back on, from what I saw, to be safely, and then I think maybe he had a tank slapper, maybe a snap. There was a little bit of contact, and then we saw Crampy go off, and things were very intense, and you can look up and down this grid right now. Things haven't really settled down too much just yet, and we're just about to enter the long straight. Darian Alfie's hunting, and he has a great exit, and he's very tight to the rear of Mario, but Mario holding well with Domi. Liam, Henners, the train is in. And Squid right now, wheel to wheel with the Ferrari. That's Scars. How's this going to go? The Williams on the outside.
A little bit of a tap between the pair, but Squid, he makes his 9th position of the race, and Scars gets overtaken by Maxime B as well. So, not a good corner, or a couple of corners. He's losing another one. Adrian's up his inside as well, and he's on the soft compound tyre strip. He really should have the legs on these drivers at the moment, but it would appear the other way around, although it appears he might have had a disconnection. That would be what's going on there.
DRS has been enabled as Kai Bacchini has brought us through into lap 3. And one thing to talk about here is that, of course, Kai Bacchini and Matteo have flipped positions, and Kai Bacchini is pulling a sizable lead over the McLaren.
Yeah, Kai's had a super good start. Liam, super tight to the rear of Hennes. Can he find his way through?
Domi's looking at this as well, and the penalties, of course, Domi has taken one of those pesky 3-second time penalties that you can't shake. Moen has done the same as well in 14th position, and now Matteo's had an issue in the McLaren. He's come off just outside of Sector 1, and he's dropped into 8th position. No damage on the front end. But now he's going to have to hunt his way back into 2nd position, where, of course, now the Haas of Henners is sitting. The Canadian of Liam hunting him down with DRS in the Red Bull. He is going to dispatch the Haas as well. We have no timing tower intervals, but we know what's going on. Mario and Domi.
Super late on the brakes! Mario got him into turn 11. Domi super late on the brakes. Has now just slammed into Hennes and lost his end plate. So, patience. I mean, super unfortunate for him. And now Mario and Hennes and is almost sweeping the rear of Liam. Mario with a super nice cutback, now up into 3rd place for the McLaren. And that was very chaotic. Penalties already popping up.
Wow. Big shout out to DRL Neon. Thank you very much for the raid. You're tuning into a very action-packed 3rd lap as all of these drivers now cross the line. The intervals are going to update, and you'll see things are fairly tight in this grid. Matteo now hunting his way back into 2nd position. He's just dispatched Adrian. If I am not mistaken, Adrian, however, is going to have DRS looking back into turn 1. He's on the inside. Scars not quite close enough. I can't get the angles at the moment, but there's Adrian in 8th with Matteo hunting him down once again. And this has been a very hectic race yet. No safety car, but the penalties are coming hard and fast.
Yeah, but Matteo's got damage on this front wing strip. He's missing an end plate, so his charge to the top is going to be hindered here. Maybe we'll see him going for an alternate strategy. Maybe soft to hards, get an earlier pit stop. Obviously, the hard tire is going to be slower, but it would put him for that wing damage earlier. And maybe that's what he's going to be looking for. Can his teammate, though, Mario, he's had a great few laps. He's now going to look around the outside at Liam. Down into turn 12. Not getting him into the corner. Can he get him out of it? And this section of track, I love it so much. Just the amount of possibilities for this switchback. It's not a move that you see too frequently elsewhere. Yasko gets past Codders for P11. He follows his teammate through.
This has just been a very intense race, and I have to say, Unicorn, I'm happy that you're catching a lot of this, and it's giving me a little bit of a reserved position today. We've got Tier 1 still yet to come, but of course this has been intensity start to present. We're on lap 5 now, and well, we haven't really seen any pit stops just yet. This grid is extremely congested still. DRS starting to play a role, especially for Squid here. He's looking at Darian. But look at those black and white rectangles on the timing tower. You can see a lot of these drivers are really fighting. They're taking liberty with the track. They are not caring about penalties right now. The few that do take care in the circuit are going to be looking for serious positions at the end of it, especially if we see a safety car.
Extremes just hit the inside wall coming out of the final turn and spun his car around. It's not what you want to be doing, as he is going very slowly, letting Domi past.
Looking for damage. Front left end, I think.
He's missing it.
Front right end plate at the very least is off.
Front left is missing as well. He's really smacked that wall.
Now, for Matteo in the chat, for those asking, we aren't entirely sure what happened. At the very least, I did not see what happened with Matteo, but there was an issue with him coming out of the S's that has seen him fall out of 2nd position. He did begin this race on pole position.
Yeah, and there's always opportunity in these races to come back from something like this. The race is far from over. We've still got 23 laps of racing action. We do have a yellow flag, though. I don't know who that is for. Everyone still seems to be moving along nicely. Wisp and Seajoss are having a little battle. Going through this long right-hander of, well, it's 17 and 18, and Darian's into the pit.
Yeah, Darian's getting off these softs. We've seen them degrade quickly. It's very, very clear here in Austin, in Texas, of course. And, well, maybe the circuit's just burning these tires. Maybe they took a little bit too much wear out of them in qualifying. Those softs, they're going to be hurting. Look at Maxim and Adrian on those mediums doing well. Those are their starting compounded tires, and they're going to be on an extended stint in comparison to the soft runners. Seajoss now and Wisp are having an exchange through the S's. It's nearly 3 wide here. Moen's been tagged. Gadwin very, very narrowly avoiding him. And it's very unfortunate to catch that. Moen now looking for fast movers as he looks to rejoin the circuit. And I imagine that's very frustrating. Darian Alfie ahead in the racing point on fresh mediums now. This is very, very interesting.
I think that there's just a little bit of a lack of patience there. Seajoss and Wisp were side by side since turn 1, and then Moen's just trying to take advantage as Wisp now DRS enabled. Flying down a little bit earlier on the brakes though than Seajoss, and that's just perfected his line. So Wisp now into P12. He's been patient, he's waited, but Moen, he can't go 3 wide through sector 1 at all. And I think he's just tried to take both of them there with an opportunistic move as they go slowly out of the battling, and it's really not worked out how he would have imagined it.
Wisp is fighting with Sejoss. They have been doing the dance for some time. Wisp presently in 12th position. Mario hunting down Liam. There's quite a few little squabbles happening on circuit. Pit stops have started in... Well, Sejoss's car has just destroyed our eardrums, it would seem. But he's sticking to the rear of that AlphaTauri, and Gadwin is in on this as well.
Yeah, and Wisp and Cotter's ahead of him, who's a bit further up the road. As well as Yasko. These guys have been taking advantage. They haven't really been overtaking too much on track. Obviously, Wisp has just done it right there. But because of everyone who's had these issues, you know, Verstappen, Ben, Domi, Crampy, they've just gained a fair amount of positions. Wisp is up 6 places from where he started this race and is now pretty close to getting himself in the points. Squid now up past Henners, just flying by with DRS. But Henners having a look back up on the inside. Interesting place to put your car. No contact, so obviously perfectly valid thing to do. He's holding his line, but that's something.
Gars has made it ahead of Mateo as well. He's dispatched the McLaren for 8th. Yasko not too far behind them now on these medium compound tires. Cotters has caught up with this, and if Cotters isn't able to get by Yasko, this could bring Wisp and Sejoss closer, although the battling that they're currently engaging in is going to prevent them from moving up this grid, and I imagine this is going to frustrate a driver like Gadwin.
Well, these guys are a part of this pack, which are on relatively, you know, fresh mediums. They're still only 7 laps old as they cross the line. So it's an interesting, you know, balancing act. They want to battle, and they're still within battling range on the tyres, but they want to get these to that later stage of the race, you know, almost 20 laps on these tyres. What they're going to want to do is see just getting very close to the rear of Wisp through there, but it's so difficult to fight. Another attack, but Wisp catches it. Sejoss now looking around the outside, going to get the inside into the next turn, and that is...
A little bit of a bump and go there. Gadwin now. He's going to take Wisp as well, and Wisp not going to be too thrilled about this. On the inside now, the two cars touching. Not entirely sure if it's a little bit of desync or if these cars are just fighting and racing themselves very hard. DRS now for the Red Bull. On the AlphaTauri, Mateo has been dispatched by the other Ferrari. Wisp on the outside. Does he get this wrap done? Who has the front row seat? That's Gadwin. Wisp into 12th now. Still holding off that Alfa Romeo. Gadwin's going to look for a way through here. Ooh, a big lunge from Gadwin on the inside. Does he get this done? Does he have the traction he needs? He's holding well. Yellow flag through Sector 3. Henners, Maxim B. Henners is coming to the pit lane.
Yeah, the yellow flag's just for extreme retiring in the pit lane.
I see. So he had an issue, I believe it was out of turn 9.
And an interesting point here is these guys on the mediums, mainly Maxime and Adrian, absolutely blistering pace in these cars right now. 5th and 6th. Maxime was just putting Henners before he came into pit under a lot of pressure. And obviously Squid's their next target. But Mario and Liam are still well within fighting range. So if they keep slowing themselves down, obviously that lets them, you know, back away from Kai. So it gives Kai a lot of breathing room. But it also is going to slow them down, bring them closer. And that's going to mean Maxime, B, and Adrian are going to be in that striking distance a little bit sooner, depending on when they pit. But it's Mario now up the inside.
There's been contact.
Is there contact between the two?
Yeah, there's been an end plate that's flown off the front right of that McLaren. And I have no idea how that's happened.
I mean, yeah, that's a very sort of...
We had a bit of a front row seat to them coming down the straight. And all you saw was an end plate fly off the car.
Very peculiar, and I imagine we're going to... I wouldn't be surprised to see Mario dive into the pit.
Wheel the wheel, Sejoss and Wisp. Wheel the wheel, there's been contact. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Seajoss dropping a little bit. This is going to really open him up. Darian has already come in for a fresh set of rubber here. Liam has come into the pit lane. Darian is hunting these guys down, and they need to be careful.
Yeah, Darian's gone for fresh mediums, and they're going to be very warm by the time he gets to the end of this race. As Seajoss and Wisp again, side by side through turn 1, and it's Wisp now back up ahead of Seajoss. But Seajoss still managing to keep himself penalty free. So he's got that going for him, and that is in his favour. And Maxim and Adrian have got Squid as well, so I wouldn't be surprised to see if we get a move down into turn 12 out of these guys in just a few moments' time. And Maxim a little bit of slide through 11.
I wonder if we're going to see an undercut out of either of these racers in Wisp or Seajoss. You know, you have Wisp. He will have the first, move, if you will, in that sense, at the moment. And I want to see if Seajoss follows him or if he goes for an overcut. But they have to worry about Darian. Seajoss, I think it would be wise for him to let Darian go here.
I think the thing is, Seajoss just wants to keep putting pressure on Wisp, and he doesn't want to slow down too much because obviously this is poor, technically position on track, but obviously Darian ahead of these guys in the race, but he's being held up big time, and Seajoss and Wisp are playing the long game as Darian has a big slide,
Liam
and that's lost in the
through.
position to Liam.
That is huge. And now Maxim B is going to inherit himself third. Adrian hot on his gearbox, and actually Maxim B is already looking at Squid for second position. Kai Bacchini 8 seconds out in front of this race right now in the Mercedes. For those just tuning in, Kai Bacchini started this race in second position. He dispatched Mateo for lead of this race on the opening lap, and he has kept it since. Held on to it quite tight. 8 seconds, the gap is massive.
Yeah, and I'm still surprised that Kai and Squid are out here. They are going for that one stop, and it's not uncommon. I imagine we're going to see them coming at the end of this lap, if not the next, pretty much the very latest.
I'm going to talk about it. This is it's a super tight grid, first and foremost. Maxim B now, and it's Squid.
The traction, he might get it. He might get it depending on his mediums. He's not though. He needs to get rid of this Williams.
This Williams is really putting a damper on his plans here.
It's also worth pointing out, Squid did not start this race anywhere near the podium places. He started way down in 17th, I believe. He's up 15.
Yeah, he's been wheeling and dealing
from him so far.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, Maxim's thrilled. Maxim is thrilled now. He has to hold off Adrian, but that he can do, I think, with a little bit of fresh air ahead.
Well, Kai's into the bits as well, so these guys are now in lead of this race.
Where does Kai come out here? Where does Kai bring himself out?
I think he might just come out behind his teammate.
He's going to come out in front of his teammate.
Yeah, because the pitch is right next to this someone. So yeah, he has. He's beat his teammate out. So very nice for him. He's got a bit of a loose tail gun. I know they're talking on comms, the two Mercedes, and Wisp and Liam are still going at it, and
racing this Red Bull very hard right now. Yeah, he's racing that yellow T-Cam Red Bull extremely hard in that AlphaTauri. Seajoss has the scent. Liam with a move, with a snap to the inside. Does he dispatch this AlphaTauri here? Yes, he does. That was a very, very quick move out of the Red Bull, and we had the seat from Seajoss's point of view. Seajoss now on the rear. Darian Alfie hunting as well. He's going to get Seajoss. Does he get Wisp as well? Does he get both? 2 into 1. Does he go into Liam? It was a very late lunge. Seajoss is trying to look at Wisp as well. Nope, no damage, it would seem.
Well, they're not the only two Alphas battling on track. The AlphaTauri of Adrian and the Alfa Romeo of Maxime B have just exchanged for lead of this race. Adrian now up into P1.
Penalty situation on the board as well. Puts Maxim in a very good position right now, as long as he's able to keep it clean.
He does seem to be struggling for a lot of traction out of some of these corners, though, in this Alfa Romeo, so... Not really what he wants, but he doesn't have long until he can get off of these mediums and onto some softs, and that's when these guys are going to fly. And right now, they'll come out in a... I'd say a fairly nice position. They probably come out just outside the top 5, depending on their pace here at the end of this stint.
Things have settled for just a moment. I just want to take a moment to say hey and thank you to everybody tuning in to the stream. Greatly appreciate it. My name's Strifium from Canada. We've got Unicorn here from the UK. Love to have you tuning in for some MRL action. If you're new, help us out. Hit that follow button. We have a ton of racing. We got Tier 1 action later this evening, and I'm quite intimidated by that race, to be fair. I'm glad Mikal will be there to to help me through it, as you've been here to help me through this race. It's been a lot of action. A lot of action. And, of course, share that stream. Love to see the tight racing here, as Seajoss now looking quite tight at Wisp, and that's Mario and Henners right behind them having an exchange. I do believe Mario now ahead into 9th. Seajoss still stuck to the rear of this AlphaTauri. Neither of them have pit yet. And it's the same situation for the two drivers at the front of things, and it would seem that the Alfa Romeos and the AlphaTauris have been in lockstep with one another this entire race so far through 14 laps. We're at that halfway point.
Darian with a very nice move on the inside of Cotters into turn 19, now going through turn 20. Cotters has just lost 2 positions. Liam, after getting rid of Wisp and Seajoss finally, absolutely flying on the fresh hards. So, interestingly, he's chosen that compound tire. Most people would go for the mediums at this stage, but they're going to hold their pace better, and it seems that he's not missing out too much in terms of competitiveness, so it might not have been a bad call from him.
Now, one key thing to note here is that Mario, 9th position, Seajoss, Wisp, Cotters all have to pit ahead of him. They all have penalties, of course, with the exception of Seajoss. Darian not too far ahead. He is in a fantastic position, but he's got Henners just keeping him honest here, barking up his rear in this Haas with Squid right behind him. It's been these tight battles that have prompted mistakes for these racers, and it's a lot of pressure. Maxim B holding well with Adrian. Adrian has the penalty. Seajoss right now holding on with this train. No penalties for him in the Alfa Romeo. He has a look to the inside. Gets on the brakes. Nothing doing just yet, but this might have given Mario an opportunity to look up the inside. Yes, it has. A little bit of contact there. I do not believe Mario took any damage on his front right end plate, and he goes up the inside once again. A bit of contact now with Wisp. Nothing just yet. No damage. 3 wide now. This has really broken things wide open, these little moves. Henners holding on for dear life as Mario slips through on the inside. A little bit of a tap from Henners in the rear of the McLaren now. No damage. Or is there? I think he's lost his front right end plate. No, he's good. He's good for the moment. Seajoss now has a very angry McLaren looking to get through.
Well, his Squid as well. He's just got past Henners, so these guys are battling, and Squid's an interesting... Squid and Mario, actually, interesting in this fight because they're on much fresher tyres than the rest of them, so they really don't want to be here in this fight. They don't want to be involved, and they need to get rid of these cars as quickly as possible because Kai, he didn't come out in this traffic and is catching Maxime and Adrian pretty quickly in that Mercedes.
This is intense. This is just intense. Mario hunting down Wisp. Do we see a move to the inside? No, he's not close enough. Squid, Henners, Domi, Seajoss. Oh, there goes Mario! He spun it out of the hairpin! What has happened with Mario? Oh no! Gadwin is now in 17th position. Look how far Mario has fallen! Look how far this McLaren has fallen! Exchange is happening all up and down this grid. Hanner is now holding on for dear life against Domi. Domi on... Well, Darian Alfie's had a big issue as well. He's lost a major portion of his front left wing. The racing point is being overtaken by the entirety of this grid. He's come out just ahead of Mario. Mario, no damage, will surely overtake this racing point. Oh, nobody's gone into the rear of him. He's gone into the rear of Darian Alfie. Darian struggling, Mario not knowing it perhaps, going into the rear of the racing point, and this has sparked a yellow flag through Sector 3. Are we going to see a safety car? We haven't had so much as a VSC in this race. Domi now has big plans for turn 1, a big dive down the inside. Now he's wheel to wheel with his teammate, Squid, in 8th position, looking at Wisp and Domi going wheel to wheel through Sector 1.
Well, Domi's 11 laps in on these hards, and he's now battling his teammate. Kai's caught up to the lead as well. He's just taken Maxime B on those fresh tyres. And Squid, now that Mario's out, is on for a good race here. He's on these fresh mediums. He's pitted at the same time as Kai, so they're going to be good to the end of the race. But he needs to get rid of these slower cars. Here he goes around the outside of Wisp, coming out of turn 10, down towards 11. He's been a little late on the brakes, but around the outside it's going to be tricky to get rid of this AlphaTauri. Fully accelerating off the track. And that's not getting in the exit he needs because it's very wobbly. He's got DRS though, so he's up into P7. Hennes though is here as well, and he's just taken the pair of them. These guys, they keep going 3 wide into corners. It's probably not the best advised. Wisp up the inside into the heaven. I think he's touched Hennes. Neither one has spun though, but that's going to give Squid the run down now into turn 13. But this is a long right-hander that loops into this very, very awkward left. It doesn't look like Wisp's going to try and squeeze it up the inside. Maxime now into the pits, imagining he's going to pick up some soft compound tires, and he could get dropped into the front of this fight. So if he doesn't get out as quick as he'd like, then
there goes Cotters into the pit lane now. We have a beautiful aerial view of the Williams in 7th position.
Cotters, yeah, Dirk in the chat. Mercedes race engineer is right. Cotters had a front left puncture.
Oh, wow.
He's getting a wing change as well.
Gar is hunting down Maxim now. Maxim has come out on fresh soft compound tires. He's going to have to go 11 laps on these. Gar is being quite, well, wide through Sector 1. In this Ferrari at the moment, Yasko and Matteo. There goes Yasko. He's spun it round through Sector 1. Just exiting Sector 1, excuse me. And that's the Ferrari out wide. And Matteo is in 10th position. I have to say, Maxim is in a seriously good position. Look at the speed he's got on Wisp. Wisp now looking to defend. Has his move. Now on the inside, Maxim. Clear through DRS.
Yeah, I'll tell you someone else in a good position. Liam as well. He's good to the end of this race on these hards. He's got no penalties either, so very, very nice stuff for the Red Bull. Hennes and Squid, they're still going toe-to-toe through Sector 3. Now the Haas behind the Williams, and Scars and Wisp, they're still exchanging through the same corner. Scars on the outside, coming through turn 18. He's going on the inside, a little bit of a lock-up, a little bit of a wobble off the curb. He's held on to P8 now. Adrian's into the pit lane. Where's Wisp's teammate going to come out here? As Maxime, also on the fresh tyres. He's got Adrian, so the undercuts work there very nicely for him. You'd expect it to as well with these softs. He's got past Squid, so there's a few cars now between Maxime and Adrian. And that could give Maxime a nice bit of breathing room, because Maxime as well doesn't have the penalties that Adrian's got, so he's looking very good to finish in a very, very nice position towards the end of this race. But it's still worth pointing out, Kai Buccini, he has penalties, but he's 10 seconds clear of Liam and P2, and Matteo into the back of Wisp, into the grass, doesn't touch the wall. I don't think he's picked up any damage as a result. But that's super unfortunate. The McLarens here have had an absolutely abysmal race, both of them struggling outside of qualifying.
Enters, looking at Squid. To the inside, the Haas now. Big lunge from him. Has the move done. Pushing Squid off a little bit perhaps here. You can see the penalties have really started to rack up for a few of these racers, taking too much liberty with the circuit. Enters now in 5th. On these 8-lap-old hard compound tires. He's versing off of these mediums, and Adrian is looking at all of this on fresh softs, and Maxim is starting to gain some traction on the drivers ahead. He's just approaching that 1 second range to Domi. Here's a lunge out of Adrian. He's wheel to wheel with the Williams on the inside. Tons of traction. A lot of response on these softs. He is into 6th.
Yeah, these fresh softs, they're looking very good. They've gone on, especially Maxime, he went on a lap earlier. They're pretty early on to these tyres. They should make it if they were fresh on and they weren't used at all in qualifying, which I imagine is the case for both drivers, but they're still going to be pretty worn towards the end. And, you know, this battling, trying to get through traffic that Adrian is experiencing now, Maxime experienced a lap ago.
Domi's had a big slip. He's had a big slip. This has really opened the door for Maxime. He's defended off the Alpha well. Maxime looks to the inside, thinks better of it. He knows I have DRS on this Williams and a ton of traction and rubber left on these tires. Here we have it, rear wing wide open. Utilizing that battery. He doesn't have a ton of it right now, but he's been pushing. He's been pushing a lot. The drivers ahead have penalties, and he wants a podium. And there he goes, around the outside, just a little bit ahead. Domi defending well on the inside. The Alpha now, there's a little bit of contact, the fronts to the rears, and that's Maxime into third position. Or is he? Domi looking back at the inside. No contact just yet. Maybe a little bit of a slip from the Canadian in third now, but Domi wants to get major points. He is, of course, now the reigning champion, but that doesn't mean he's done driving. He wants to get that car as far up this grid as he can, and he's going to come into the pit lane. He's jumping off of these 14-lap old hards now. He is surely going to come in onto some softs, and this is really, really giving Maxime B a nice opportunity to escape a threat so that he can pull away from Adrian.
Yeah, and if I'm Maxime B, I don't think I just want a podium here. I think he might go all the way and try and get the win here. The chat seems to be behind him in that line of thinking. He's 6.5 seconds down on Liam. He's going to have the pace now, a lot of pace now, compared to the Red Bull. But the Red Bull, 9-lap old hards, but more importantly, 40% ERS. Maxime now charging his battery, but like you said, he's almost used the whole thing. So while he's catching now, and he is catching very, very quickly, can he take these tyres with enough pace to the end? Because neither Liam or himself have penalties, so it's an interesting battle to see who's going to take that top spot.
Otters is very tight to the rear of Verstappen right now. Verstappen not having the greatest of races today. He started things quite far up this grid. He's dropped
Squid
from
up the inside.
Ooh, Squid and Henners.
Very nicely done. Squid has that warning light on for fuel, and Henners again up the inside. This final sector is just so good to watch these cars go side by side. Henners might try and get a switchback if he's got the traction. He doesn't know, and Squid now up into P5. We've got a yellow flag. I was no one possibly rejoining the session. And that's jumbled the timing tower. Domi as well. Now. On fresh soft is getting very close to the rear of Yasko, not quite squeezing his way through down into 19, through turn 19. But over the last corner, absolutely flying with DRS as well as what? Darren Alfie's out. He's retired the car. He's crushed it into sector 3.
Oh, and we have
safety car.
Knock, knock, ladies and gentlemen, because it is time to wake up. We have a safety car on lap 21.
Yeah, the penalties have just got a whole lot more important.
Yeah, that's right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the situation for penalties. Kai Bacchini has 6 seconds. Adrian with 9. Squid with 9. Henners with 15. Scars with 3. Mateo with 9. Domi with 6. Ejos with 3. Cotters with 12. Verstappen with 6. Wisp with 3. Mario with 6. Crampy with 12, and Moen with 9, and I think we're going to see Liam, Maxime, and potentially Yasko or Gadwin on the podium as a result of this. If the tires are the right ones, because we saw what happened on Tuesday. For those that aren't aware, every driver in the MRL EU split took penalties, except one, the Red Bull. Dirk Chocolate was the only driver without penalties in that grid. He finished the race on track, 12th position. However, he finished 5th as a result of the penalty dropout for these racers. Kai Bacchini, of course, he's going to be coming out on the softs. Of course, why wouldn't he? Liam behind him in the Red Bull has now been overtaken by Maxime B, who has decided to stay out
Well, he's on pretty fresh softs anyway, so he may as well take the track position, as has Adrian on Liam. One person here who could be quite interesting towards the end of this race. Obviously, the guys without any penalties are obviously strong candidates, but Gadwin isn't pitting, and I think that might be a smart move from him. But someone who's quite interesting is Scars right now. He's just come out of the pit lane in, I think, 11th place. I don't think Wisp's got him. He only has 3 seconds compared to some of the cars in front. Seajust as well only has 3, but Scars is now on fresh softs. So if he can climb up this grid, he could be on for a strong finish as well, because the likes of Henners, 15 seconds penalty, Squid, 9, Matteo, 9, Adrian, 9. Scars could be a big climber here. I don't know if he'll sneak a podium, but I think a top 5 is definitely on the cards for this Ferrari.
It has been such a dynamic race for overtaking, and we didn't even have a safety car to bunch up the grid a bunch. It was just a tight grid throughout this race. And now we've had this safety car to really throw a monkey wrench. We haven't even had a VSC. This lap 21 safety car has presented such a unique situation for these racers. Matteo, interestingly enough, has not come in just yet off of these 11-lap-old mediums. Very interesting decision out of the McLaren. He may not have a set to go to. Joss has just taken a 5-second penalty for a somewhat severe collision with Scars. However, he's ahead of the Ferrari at the moment, so I'm not entirely sure how that works.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting. It's not quite as late as the safety car was in EU, but there is, you know, the great MRL philosophy: safety cars breed safety cars. Yeah. But
I think we're too late. I think we might be too late for that at this point in time. I think this race is going to bring us to a 5-lapper status.
I don't know if we're too late for a VSC. Which I think a VSC would cause carnage, actually, as people slow down at different rates after a safety car restart.
Yeah, it's I don't think Matteo has softs, because I can't think of any reason why he would stay out.
Yeah. People continuing to have disconnections. I'll get him another invite, but it's gonna be interesting here to see how this all plays out. And Matteo, Gadwin as well, could be caught in this pole. Gadwin on the, you know, he's got no penalties and he's gonna be very slow. I don't know whether staying out was the right.
Just overtook Adrian.
Yeah, I saw it on the timing tower. I wasn't sure who was where, but.
Okay. So that's interesting. Adrian went off track there, and Liam flipping on through.
Well, if Adrian's made a mistake, then it is, you know, entirely Liam's right to pass someone who's in the grass, but if Adrian hasn't gone off the track, I didn't see it myself, so I can't comment it. Then Liam might be in trouble with the stewards, and Squid still having connection issues.
Not really sure what's going on with Moen. Might be having some kind of connection error. We're going around again, so something that I have found, we're gonna go green on the next lap. This safety car, for whatever reason, likes to go an extra lap. We saw it on Tuesday, Unicorn, if I'm not mistaken. We went around for an entire lap with the full grid.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we had it on, if I'm not mistaken, the Apache race. Tuesday night.
So Dirk, the Mercedes race engineer for this evening and many others, I do believe, telling us that Kai had to catch the safety car despite already being behind it, so
well,
it is just a glitch with the game that is causing it to go around again here. What's interesting here is that people are still managing to pick up track limitation warnings under this safety car.
well, we're going to see what happens here as the entire grid has been bunched up. Squid, old medium compound tires. If Dirk is able to tell us what it is showing Kai Bacchini on his screen now, that would be greatly appreciated, but it's unfortunate that these things happen.
Yeah, and he's still saying that Kai's got that glitch up on his screen, so fingers crossed it gets fixed. We're going to have to cross into the final sector. This is...
Yeah, we're in.
Well, it's in this lap, so it's fixed itself.
Yeah, we're in.
Everyone just breathed a sigh of relief. Not only us, but everyone in the chat watching, and probably Kai as well, who's doing a big weave to slow this grid down.
Yeah, that's I think that's his indicator saying, okay guys, like it's time. And Kai not taking a lot of time, I think, to warm his tires, given the fact that we were unsure whether it would be coming in.
It's just Adrian's ready. He keeps
Yeah,
faking out the inside of Liam.
He's waiting
He
to
keeps
see
just
when Kai
throttling
goes.
down.
All right, Kai Bacchini. Very important that these drivers don't get anxious. They must wait for Kai. They must wait for Kai. He is away out of the final turn. Maxim is on the rear of him. The interval's now updating. Matteo is already under serious threat. It's the Hungarian. Domi on the inside into turn 1 already. The Williams, does he get this move done? Henner's on Gadwin as well, just behind them in the Haas. That's 2 through into that turn. Scars has dispatched Sejoss. Yasko, if I'm not mistaken, dispatched Wisp, and we've had a massive amount of exchanging already into turn 1, and things have really locked themselves in at the front of things right now. Liam less than half a second away from Maxim. Kai Bacchini is doing serious work right now. He needs to pull out a massive gap to Maxim in order to avoid being overtaken due to the penalty that he is carrying of 6 seconds. So he is fighting for a race win. He is pushing as best he can. He must get a gap. Domi now, 5th position, hunting down Adrian. No overtake just yet, or DRS just yet. But all of these drivers are going to have a significant amount of battery. There's the dive up the inside. Does Adrian have an opportunity to get the switch back? No, he does not. Domi on 2-lap old tire or fresher tires. Adrian back up the inside. Domi getting a little bit more response right now out of this car. And you said it earlier, Unicorn, this is a fantastic section of circuit for switchbacks. Domi not letting Adrian get one, however.
Yeah, Matteo's struggling. Henner's got him through turn 12, and then he's just sliding all over the place. And Kai's saving grace here is that Liam and Maxime B might be fighting each other because neither of them have penalties. Neither of them have picked up penalties. Liam's on fresher rubber, but they both want to win this race. And in doing so, they might both lose this race to Kai. So, interesting to see how it goes. Yasko.
Mario and Cotter's fighting. Mario's just dispatched Cotters. Yasko and Gadwin now.
There's everyone battling up and down. And see Scars and Matteo side by side. Scars now up into P7. And Matteo on these old mediums. I don't know what he was thinking not coming in, but obviously, like you said, maybe he didn't have a fresh set of softs, but even a fresh set of mediums might have served him better here. Because he is dropping like a stone, and there's not a lot he can do about it.
Gadwin dropping off. Yasko has Verstappen Ben to contend with. Sejoss behind them. Adrian and Henner are now exchanging. They are wheel to wheel coming down at the end of the straight. Who's going to be the benefactor of this exchange? So far, it's Henner's. He's out just a little bit ahead. Does Adrian have enough traction to wrap around? We saw Adrian with a lunge down the inside of this section earlier on. Well, Maxim and Liam are now having an exchange through just ahead. Gonna switch
Liam
on with all of this.
Penalty.
Oh no, this is crucial for Maxim. Crucial.
You know, it's kind of raced over for the pair of these guys. And oh, Liam almost ending both of their races with that move up the inside. Mateo's out.
What has happened with Mateo?
It looks like he's had a problem through 19, and I don't know if he's... Yeah, he's just binned his car into the wall. He's missing a front right tyre. Like you said, though, I think it is too late in this session for a safety car to pop out. Only one lap after this, we are on the penultimate, yeah. Not a good race for either of the McLarens, and Mateo's ending just 2 laps premature to when he wanted to be finishing it.
Ivaccini is setting this circuit on fire right now. He is pulling out a massive gap on these drivers behind him. Crampy right now, a 1:10.375 is the fastest lap of this session. So I am not entirely sure how he managed to do that. Very impressive out of the Haas. However, I have to say Kai Baccini, if I'm not mistaken, does have it right now on the board. Domi ahead of Maxim. Liam, front row seats as well. Big cut from Maxim there through that turn that we spoke about. That's not going to be good for his case in the end of this one.
Yeah, Scars is up another position, up into 6th ahead of Adrian, and
Henners.
this battling that's with Maxime. Yeah, Maxime's just... Kai's getting the race win gifted to him here because Maxime's just under a hell of pressure.
No,
like, everyone's...
No battery.
I think he's still good for P2, but I think P1 belongs to one man and one man only. That's Kai Baccini.
You know, and it's his battery combined with the tires. Look at the 10-lap-old versus these fresh rubber drivers ahead of him. Jasko and Adrian having an exchange. It's wheel-to-wheel. The Ferrari now just ahead. And he has a penalty. The only driver that doesn't have a penalty right now in the top 10 is Adrian. AlphaTauri looking good. Looking good.
And that gives Liam P2, I think, that penalty.
Gadwin. Oh, Gadwin, my friend, is going to jump up far here. The Finnish Red Bull racer is going to shoot way up. He needs to keep it clean. He needs to keep it clean.
Yeah, I reckon he'll land in at least 7th. I think it will be 7th for Gadwin.
I think it's going to be better. I think it might even be better. We'll have to see. On the final lap of this race, Sejoss and Crampy having an exchange. Gadwin and Cotter's also exchanging. Cotter's getting ahead of him. There's a ton of fighting in through Sector 3 right now. Scars, Maxim B also doing the dance. However, Kai Baccini coming through the final turn of this race here around the Circuit of the Americas in the Mercedes. He is going to take the race win. How does it come at the line now? Domi holding off the Canadian of Liam. He crosses 2nd here. He drops to the Canadian. That's Liam in 2nd. Henners now in 4th. Excuse me, as Jasko jumps into 3rd. Domi 4th. Maxim 5th. Scars in 6th. Verstappen 7th. Henners in... There's still drivers crossing here. Gadwin jumps into 7th. Scars in... Oh my... What a shakedown we have had on this grid. According to the timing tower, Crampy won the race.
Well, I mean, I'm sure Crampy would love to accept that result, but I'm pretty sure that is not the case. And
you gotta love those epic timing tower timing glitches and all the super fun things that we get to see. The stewards will go through and, of course, know what's going on. But it was Kai Baccini that won this race. And I'm a little jaw-dropped. I'm a little jaw-dropped right now for how that race went.
The 2 USA races that we've commentated so far with these late-game safety cars, it's just absolutely brilliant. Obviously, Crampy there stealing Kai's spotlight on the podium just a little bit, but man, what a race. And Crampy apparently got a 1:10.3, which might have aided in his... jump at the end there, but
yeah,
we'll have to see. Like you said, stewards will take a look at this. An
absolute laser Crampy, a 1:10.375 according to this, the fastest lap of this campaign. However, it was Kai Baccini, Liam, and Jasko, if I'm not mistaken, the top 3 here. Domi, Maxim, this race was blown wide open, wide open. This race, I have Very few words to describe that. I think everybody knows that was just pure intensity. We are going to be rating a member of the community in just a few moments' time, of course. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We still have Tier 1 action to come in 45 minutes. And if this qualifying session was anything to go by, I need to get prepared. Tier 1, man. Oh, my. Unicorn, how did you think of this race overall?
That race was... there was some serious drives in there, and obviously penalty-free, brings out a lot. And Liam only having 3 helped him there get on that podium. Yasko, 15th to what I believe is 3rd. Stunning drive, Maxime, Gadwin, Scars, the 3 of them, great races from them. I want to know what happened to Squid. He was having such a good start to this race, and then he ends up in 14th, so not quite sure what happened to the Williams in the second half of that race. He got stuck in traffic. I don't know if he had contact or something, and I think penalties as well plagued him, but and the USA, it's really been an excellent couple of races. That race there was brilliant. One of the best I think Tier 2's had so far this season. That was just so enjoyable to watch, and yeah, what a strong drive from Kai, and I think Maxime as well is going to be kicking himself that he got that penalty, and probably kicking himself that he didn't come into the pits under that safety car, because I don't think he would have got it if he was on fresh soft tyres at least. But again, he might not have the tyres. So hindsight is a wonderful thing, and what a great race.
What a great race indeed. I was super thrilled and jaw dropped at the end of that one. Hopefully you all in chat on stream enjoyed it. We have another race coming in just 42 minutes time, as the clock has just struck once again. So 42 minutes time, we are going to raid Mr. Raggy. Very good guy. Hopefully you go over and check him out. If not, come on back. Hit us up in that 40-minute window. We will be live once again for Tier 1 racing here around the Circuit of the Americas. And if this was anything to go by, I would not want to miss that. I am going to be thrilled to be able to commentate that one. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We are going to bid you farewell with the outro as usual, and hit up Mr. Raggy, and we will see you in a short moment's time.